So, obviously we know we need to use the best practices in our classroom, but not only that, we need to look at the research and look at the evidence to see why, or maybe to help us understand what we should do in our classroom. Because what you're saying you're going to do is probably right, but it's nice to have someone else back you up that did some sort of big study. We see this a lot in the law. Every Student Succeeds and IDEA. Every Student Succeeds doesn't necessarily just focus on disabilities, but it requires that these kids are getting the right information in the best way. You know this. You've heard about these laws before. We don't talk about them that much in the real world, but they're always in the back of our mind, guiding what we're doing in the classroom. So we want to make sure that not only the teachers are doing the right things, but that the parents, the kids, the general communities are able to gather that information to help kids meet these high standards. Those of you who are teaching elementary right now, you guys know what happens if they don't meet that third grade reading law. And will they ever get to me in high school if they don't meet that reading law, right? As they work their way up. Yeah. Every Student Succeeds helps with things happening in the links with students with autism and with students with other high need disabilities. Sorry, my standing out of the range.
Yeah, it's okay though. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, I'm here. I promise. My voice is creeping away. They had to have research and evidence to back that up in order to start that program. It was a huge endeavor that basically takes one of our teachers completely away from what he used to do, and now he runs the links program. He teaches like 2 hours a day of other things, and now he's responsible for 100 some gen ed kids. Whoa, it's a huge shift. He's responsible for their grading and their classroom habits, making sure they're selected for this program, choices with them. So he had to have that evidence and data to go to our boards, to go to our parents, our community to get this program up and running. Obviously, we must use best practices for our students with disabilities. We know that the practices we choose to use for them often benefit others and it gets reviewed by large groups of people. It might be something with APA, it might be something with a college or university board, but they get this stuff reviewed to prove that it's evidence-based. Whereas with a research-based practice, that's kind of like the next step down. So they're still doing lots of work. They're still doing a nice big experiment, taking the research, doing the process, gathering the data, but they don't necessarily have to go through that big, fancy review process. Promising practices, sounds promising, doesn't it? They do okay. They're things that maybe work for one specific type of student with one very specific type of disability, but doesn't work overarchingly, or doesn't maybe work with every 5th grader in that category, just works with some. And then there's the unestablished ones. You tried it once, it works great. You told your friend. Right? It was never really researched, it was never really shown. It was, oh yeah, it worked well in my classroom, I'll do it again next year. But it was very dumb. We're not friends. Yes, that's the end. You did so good. You have a task between now and next week. And then by next week, I mean Thursday, not next week. Oh. Thursday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To find a research article that shows best practice. And we're going to tie it into the next project so you can maybe kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Love it. We are looking for a strategy, a method, a process that benefits high schoolers with disabilities. Looking for something that's a pretty common disability, something like a learning disability, emotional impairment, ADHD, autism, something that affects a lot of children, and what this study taught us, what they knew. You can see here in the middle it says your article needs to be recent, so 2005 or better. If it's even more recent than 2017, that's fine. Smith did yesterday in her class. I want to know that she gathered data. I want to know that she collaborated with other 8th grade teachers. I want to know that she discovered this magic fact. And when you go to some of these websites, you will find things like this. And it also needs to be peer reviewed. That means others have looked at it. It's not just Wikipedia. Fancy psychology abstract. You're giving me a citation. You're giving me the keywords. It's all coming straight from the article. The question, the hypothesis. the subjects, what they measured, what they found, and how it affects the future. Almost all of this stuff comes directly from summarizing who was tested, what they measured, what the procedure was to do that measuring. An article on anything related to secondary special education. So basically, did you do the write-up? That's what I'm grading you on. Do you have that information? And you can attach the article as well, either by email or if you turn it in by hand, whatever works for you. The article and do the write-up. Now the reason I'm flying through this so fast is because you also need to find an article. Your literacy project requires one article for your team, and I'm about to dive into that in a minute. If you and your teammates all find a great article about, like if you each find one about your topic, then you can just use one for that. Done. Okay. Either in class or via email before class. Finding the article, doing the write-up. And like I said, these links that are here are awesome resources to do your research on. Oh no, that's the slideshow. If you look in the evidence-based section on Moodle, which is here, there are some great articles and some great starting points for you to do some research. I don't believe it. So this section right here has lots of information to help with this. That was a lot of information all at once. Did you catch it? Great. Will you relocate yourself to your curriculum group team so you're sitting with your people? Even though most of you have already done a great job. Sit with your people. You don't dig out your stuff because I'm giving you more. Sorry, struggle to do. We'll get it, I promise. Oh no, that was almost really bad. Keep calm. Don't. My AP English teacher always said AP stood for always panic. So proud. Okay, switching gears. Yes. Not yes. Okay, good job. You are working with a curriculum team to create and modify and support a. We're gonna have a ton of time to work this coming Thursday. Set of classes slightly less. That's my goal. Don't want to make you overwork yourself. So you're gonna be working with that very same team, but you're gonna focus this time on. We have mnemonic strategies. We have linking. We have previewing. Turn and talk to your team. Which one do you want? You're gonna connect it to your head. I'm gonna let other people feel ready to have a backup just in case. Have a backup. No, that's not fair. Which one? Here, let me show you a fun project I was thinking about last year. List, identify, note, create. Break a curriculum. Yes, Laura Grace. Does anyone else want clicker clone? Great, that was easy. What content? What kind? Okay, what else? What do you want? Previewing? Anybody else want previewing? Story map. What do you want? Story mapping? Is that cool with you? Team biology. What do you want? In like 10 minutes, Tori is going to come here and work with us and teach us what to do. You and your team need to find an article, this is where the connection happens, related to your strategy. You can also find information about these strategies in your textbook. So you might have read it last year for class, you might have already seen it this year, whatever. It's there in there 1 week from today. You need to give us a handout about the strategy. Help us understand what's going on in your biology class. Or you're presenting on a way to click and. And then if you want to, during your lesson. So, handout. You're going to give us a handout. You're going to teach us what it's all about. You're going to make a poster that looks beautiful that we're about to learn about. When you get out into the real world, Jane Finn was so excited about this. We have 4 posters about awesome strategies that you can use in your real world, which is pretty cool. Because the idea of the poster is something that a kid can look over and be like, oh yeah, that's what she was talking about. That's how I start the first step. Does that make sense? So it's share out that a kid can look back and reference. This comes up a couple times in these packets, and I'm sorry, it's literally the last line of this page. It says, this strategy will be placed on your final poster. There is no final poster for this class. I got rid of it. We're not doing it.
That sounds tough.
Getting rid of things is good. You're right. When we flip over to the rubric, here's how you're being graded. So you're creating, or you're overviewing what this handout, so that we understand how it connects. Found an article. You don't do a write-up about it. You should find it. If you want to do it separately, fine. I just gave you. So these presentations about literacy come first. These are on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, all you need to do is share the stuff. Right? It's not like a formal teaching. Today is Tuesday. A week from today, you're presenting on this. Not actually today. That would be awful. I wouldn't do that to you. So we've still got more to do today. It's only 5 o'clock, not even. But this, then a week from today, you're presenting on your literacy projects. You're showing your poster. You're demoing your skill. Then a week from Thursday, so 3 classes from now, are when your curriculum lessons are happening. You're going to either teach us a chunk of your lesson, or you're going to share out just the general what's happening in that lesson. The strategy that you're using with literacy can show up in your lesson. I hope it does. I hope you find it valuable and connected. Just like I hope your research article might be easy to just plug and chug for this assignment. Okay. Now I'm going to stop talking and Tori gets to start talking. It's great. Tori actually graduated from home.
A lot of fun times.
It's a good time. She works here at the library, and she's going to talk about how to create this final product. Getting some basics done. And again, I know you don't necessarily know how this strategy works yet. That's okay. You can still mess around with this program and start to get stuff done. So I think you'll need at least 1 computer per group. Yep. So that you can get on there and do some stuff.
Are you
with
guys
the
in your
program.
groups right now?
They are. There's
awesome.
4 of them. She's alone. her teammates left her for volleyball.
Well, if you want to pair up with another team for today, that would work too. So you're not by yourself.
Awesome.
But I have a handout for you into how you can use this as a really awesome tool for making posters, and just totally different posters than potentially what you're used to seeing. How many have used this before? Whoa, everybody. Okay. So we might be talking about some similar things then. I didn't realize that you all probably ed psych, right? Yeah, maybe?
I think it's also just like a popular thing in the ed department that people make skits.
That makes me so happy because I brought it to the ed department just a couple of years ago. So that's really exciting. Okay, so that might completely change what we're going to do today a little bit. But so how do you guys feel about using Pictoturk, even Canva? I prefer Pictoturk, but that's me. What do you guys, on like a scale of like 1 to 10, 1 to 5, you have 5 fingers, right? Where do you guys feel, like tech-wise, do you feel good about it or not good? So not good being a 1. 2, 3 scores? Okay. So fairly confident, maybe not pros, but pretty confident. It's really wonderful because you really get the opportunity to kind of make something really visually engaging with students, something that they're going to see in the. So today, and some of you may have had some of this content, I wanted to talk about some best practices and kind of getting used to the tool, but it sounds like some of this you guys have had before. So I kind of want to, I guess, dig in really deep into what you might do and how that might, like, best practices for building an infographic. So I brought some examples, and again, some of you may have seen these before that I'm going to pull up here. That I kind of want to talk through and look through, and hopefully some new ideas. Some of these might be the same infographics you've seen before as examples. Some of them might not be. I do try and bring new ones in, but I want you guys to kind of engage with them again and think about, is it a good one, is it not? And what are you seeing when you're looking at this as a student? If they saw it in a course or a wall somewhere, or whoever might be interacting with that particular type of poster, or infographic in whatever medium it may have been published in, whether it's online or physical, how would they be interacting with it? Would they get the information they want? And what are they doing in order to make that engaging and interesting? Right? I'm going to pull this up. What questions? Do you guys have any questions for me? You look a little sleepy today. While I'm pulling this up, why don't you guys stand up, wiggle about, walk around the room for a second, just like a minute or two, to just kind of wake up a bit.
Tired from that.
I like that your shirt is all about those.
Yes.
At first I thought it was like polka dots.
This is so fun. I feel like
Just one thing after another. Like, alright, I'm gonna start focusing on this. Nope, you gotta switch that. I gotta do this now. So, just gotta laugh. I had no idea about his pregnancy C-section. It's worse right now.
Oh yeah.
When you're starting to feel like perhaps you're a little bit more awake, maybe it is a really dreary day out, isn't it? It's really gross. I want you guys in your groups, shared computers, however you can. If you need to kind of move around a bit, that's great. This is a link you very well may look familiar with other classes, to some examples. And so what I want you guys to do, and then potentially some questions or ideas, something to focus on with that infographic. But in general, even though that's a focus, think about, is it a good one? How are they displaying and giving their information to people as they maybe are seeing this on a wall somewhere, or they're interacting with it online, and so you guys can get to this. And I want you to, in your groups, kind of start doing that. So we have really 3 groups. So let's do, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, and 9. And feel free to talk and be active with this. Yes, they are. Bitly and Google's like short links are never. No. Is that a 0? Is that a? Oh, you should just do a 0.
Oh, it's one of the ones that we're supposed to be using. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
It's overwhelming. You have to like zoom in.
It's like a lot. I didn't say these are necessarily good infographics. It's you can pick them apart. It's cute though. Do you want us to pull it up to say?
Oh, you have like
Aesthetically pleasing, but they're all a lot.
too much text.
It's cool, but there's a lot of stuff.
What is that? These two though are just like
That one goes well.
you're like seeing them
I
now.
do like the fact, so.
Yeah, no.
Kind of
It looks like a book
The board is nice, people can just have this.
Have you ever seen those books that just like open up and it has like
Can we look
where
into
that's kind of I looked at the lizards in the 2000s.
Questions
I
go.
would say, I mean,
What is the head? How does it protect it? We knew it was about stars.
it's not really, it's really.
We knew. How did it catch your attention?
The only thing that I would say that if this was like hanging up somewhere and it's like if you're doing a quick back about it, there's a bunch of things to learn, but it's not.
It's all dispersed around where you're not, like you're, it's really, and I like it, it's cute.
And then how all the other shoes get stuck because it's so small.
There's actually a flow, like a disorganized flow.
What's the next question?
That was a different question.
Very annoying to watch. What's question is how is this traveling important? When you go back to that one. It's a great narrative, but it's a narrative that's having like I think if it just focuses on the picture with those that would have been a little more helpful. But having like a folder that also
I don't mind it. It's one of those things like if I have it, it's free time.
But we have so many. Yeah, it's just telling them about.
Picture teacher with like, you know what I mean? Like, are they trying to sell the picture or trying to sell the box?
Or you could just say like, one person you've run off.
But then this is helpful because it's like, what can you do about it?
I guess it depends on what their purpose is. Like if their purpose is to find solutions, then the blue bar would be just the blue bar. If the purpose is to think of what's causing it, then you just
We really like the same one.
I don't want to. We don't want to read it because we don't want to tell. We don't want them to like I keep going in. She said, "Don't you want it?"
It says about the
yeah, it goes
I
out.
saw it.
But it's still, it's mainly
So this was probably not. I found it, but it wasn't working.
That's a good one.
I really like that one.
And it's like, I walk away from that. I watched this video come over there and I was like,
It doesn't say
we'll go, whoa.
Deal with the village supply by the original one or Schweppes.
It is. And our kids are already overseas.
Schweppes do well, to be honest with you.
How are you guys doing over here?
Good, our third link doesn't work.
It's so seen that sometimes. That was almost 20 years ago. Yeah, but I think you guys said some really good things that they're. It's really unclear what these stats are, where they're from. Are they accurate? Are they not accurate? Are things more important than the other based on how they're presenting it? Kind of the point of this one is be thinking about how you're displaying your information. Are you making it clear where it's coming from? You should still cite on a poster. That's really important. It can be small and down in the bottom. That's totally fine. You don't necessarily need to do in-text citations of your poster. you don't need to. But you want to make sure you have them on your poster. And you probably should have maybe more than one too, right? Depending on where your data is coming from. In many instances too, if you're giving stats, if you have a paragraph like that in the front, you should be saying, in a study in 2017, or wherever it came from. That's usually a good practice to do as well. So being really clear about where are your stats coming from. It doesn't need to take up a ton of space. It doesn't necessarily need to be super scholarly and academic sounding either, right? But making sure it's there. Making sure people that read it know it's credible. They know that they can rely on that information. They know it's right and accurate. It's all good. Good things to be doing. Questions about that? Okay. Take two more for us. Alignment. Just think about this one.
I can do it. So we thought as far as aligning it in a straight, orderly way, it was good. But it's kind of boring. I mean, one alignment in just little like 9 boxes is kind of boring. It doesn't make want the reader to keep reading. So other than that, it's like kind of cute graphics. But yeah, the alignment.
It's a very boring infographic. Yeah.
We also like there's no title, so we like didn't know what the meaning was. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no title on this. I imagine it's hanging in a like a coffee shop somewhere, maybe.
I'm not sure. Some of the colors are very similar, so
Yeah, it does. Studies show that if you're gonna try and get them close to being aligned, if they're not perfectly aligned this way or this way, people aren't gonna read anything on there. There's been several sort of psychological studies on that sort of thing, that if something is slightly off, that it just, how many people in this room, for instance, would just be focused on the one thing that's off on there? I would be. Yeah, almost everyone here. So kind of the point of this one is to make sure that when you're doing it, you've aligned them well. Pictochart and Canva as well, they both have some built-in sort of tools to make sure that happens. So just make sure you use those. They'll try and help get them sort of nice and aligned and even. I think Pictochart even has a new feature that kind of locks them into the proper place, whether that's aligned to center or via sideline or anything like that. So that's just really important.
For anyone else in this room who doesn't drink coffee, doesn't this make you feel so much better? Like you know what they're talking about when you read this?
I can send it to you if you'd like.
Seriously, like when you see something in a coffee shop and you're clueless, you're like, okay, I can remember that one. That's what I like.
There's a really cool infographic similar to this with a whole bunch of other info on there, actually hanging in the modulos. If you're sitting at the bar stools, it's now on the far left side. It was gone for a while, but I just saw it the other day, and it has a little portion that's like know your drink, basically, which is kind of fun. And they use some different bars and lines to see like the percentages of steamed milk to other things. And our final one. There is some opinions about this one, aren't there?
We weren't too hot on this one. Like, one thing that we talked about is, personally, my eyes kind of went to like the center, and there's nothing in the center of this graphic. It's just a W. And then also, at first, we were confused on where exactly this list started and stopped. We thought it only went to 40 something. We were like, wait, there's 50s, and yeah, we didn't like all the circles.
Yeah.
I love how it says, like this infographic, you'll love my class. Like, wait, this infographic is not great. On the top bit. I feel really bad.
So this is an ad at a college that a professor used to get students to take her class on WordPress. So would you take the class on WordPress?
No.
You saw this hanging up? No, didn't think so. The positive thing about this is they're coordinating colors, which is the only reason I have this up here, because it's really awful other than that, right? So the positive thing, they're using the white and the gray and the blue, and those are WordPress's branded colors. So you guys don't need to have a brand for your infographic. Like, you don't need to use Hope College's colors or the school's colors that you end up teaching at someday. Maybe you would use those colors, I don't know. But like particularly for this assignment, just pick a color scheme. Probably one that doesn't have bright yellows or something like that as the text. Like, be a little cautious of whether or not you can read things on there. But just make sure you're consistent. Pick 3 to 4 colors, maybe 5 colors, and just be really consistent about how you're using that. Same thing goes with fonts. Pick maybe 2 fonts and use those throughout the whole poster. Don't use a whole bunch of other fonts. Try and be pretty consistent with that if you can. Yeah. Any questions about sort of best practices, thinking? Some of you may have heard a lot of this before, but hopefully it was fresh and it's new for you to think about it in terms of this assignment as well. Questions, thoughts? Awesome. So since many of you are somewhat proficient in PictoCharts or Canva, what would be helpful in terms of digging into the tool for you guys? Is there any, like, I really wish I knew how to do this? I don't think you guys need a session on here. Let's get started in PictoCharts. I think everyone raised their hand, right?
Okay, this might be a weird question, but I know a lot of us on Canva just use the ones that are like already made for us. Do you recommend just like copying your info and then like making it work for you, or like starting from scratch? Like, what's the benefit?
Yeah, that's a good question. So same thing kind of goes in with PictoChart as well. The nice thing about PictoChart is they have a poster. I don't know if Canva has that as well. They do. I would definitely recommend for this class, especially if you end up printing it. Is it required to print it for the assignment? Or okay. It's good if you ever may possibly print it. Let's put it that way. To do the poster. Okay, so that's really important that you do that, because if you don't do the poster, you can't really see on the left here, there are several options. If you don't choose a template that's a poster, even if it's the blank template, it's not going to print, right? It's going to be way too long, most likely, to do that. In terms of sort of the templates and using them or not using them, I think the best way when you're looking at them is to see what sort of information are they emphasizing in it. So not necessarily like a color scheme or things like that, because those are pretty easily changed, but if we look at like this one, they're emphasizing it's an invite, right? So they have a date in the center and they have some little bits of information. That's what they're emphasizing here. If you're looking at one like this one, it's a resume. Cool idea, by the way. There are a lot of people that are building their resumes with PictoChart or Canva nowadays. Employers are almost starting to expect that, actually, so just a little plug for the future. But like this one, they're very much having titles and text. There's not a lot of graphics here. So thinking about what type of information are you going to have, and are you choosing a template that's using that type of information? So if you have a lot of statistics you want to show, finding a template that has a lot of statistics on it, or numbers. If you have a lot of graphics where you got a lot of text and you need to use graphics in order to make that less texty. Finding a template that's using something like that is what really is the best way to go about doing that. Does that help kind of think about templates? If you're not finding one that's working in that way, then your best bet is just to build one from scratch. I often will find one and then end up scrapping half of the infographic. That's often what happens for me.
A lot of the previous submissions for this project are kind of step by step showing your way through the text, right? So it's that reminder to the kid, oh yeah, these are the 5 steps it takes to link.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Here's how I walk you through them in that kind of long and skinny setup.
So there was a really awesome template for something like that where it kind of weaved a path. often find looking at kind of the traditional infographics, there might be some interesting ideas, but I would still start in the poster, if that makes sense. So you might see something a little bit more graphic-y, or like this one, for instance. This is a process. So something like that could be an idea. So then just taking that and then putting it into something like the other one. Great question. What other questions or things I could show you with this tool that might also translate into Canva that would be helpful for you? Yeah.
Do you think there's a benefit to, like, if you're putting out a poster, some of these are kind of scrolling, like the statement they showed. Do you think that having that as a poster compared to like maybe 3 separate posters on the same topic is like that?
So doing one that's scrolling versus one that's just a piece of paper?
Or like if you wanted
yeah.
that much information, making like 3 separate posters on the same topic at all.
I would probably lean towards 3 separate. Yeah, if it's printed. Yeah, unless you have like it's gonna go across the whole style. So I would do like 3 separate posters. That's all about thinking about how are people perceiving the information, right? So how are they gonna interact with those pieces if you have one long one versus lots of small little ones that maybe are different places around the classroom. So I might think about it as okay, maybe in the day with different stations or something like that. Yeah, that's a good question. Any other thoughts, questions? We have, I think, a couple minutes, maybe? Yeah, so I'm going to stick around your project because I think you're kind of at that point where you need to start thinking about it, kind of both sides, whatever's going to be best for your group, sort of.
I'm going to make lectures visible to you in a minute or less. So if you refresh your Moodle page, those folders will show up. So there's 2 different folders. There's the 2018 folder and then there's the folder.
Something to be aware with those, I know some of those have had trouble printing in the past.
There's some not good.
Yeah.
But they are pretty
Yes.
good.
So just be aware when you're looking at the examples, if you're thinking about printing, think about the fact that maybe the shape will be a little bit different if that's the case.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure they had a really hard time figuring this out.
It's a little too much to walk.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there not one for food? How's that?
The second and third. I don't get those steps.
Okay.
Forgot that this
That makes sense.
phone is like yeah, so I do have problems.
Yeah, and we do after class.
Ah, where do I just start?